Hello everyone, my name is Mark Kinney and I'm Chief Investment Officer of Newport Private Wealth. On behalf of the portfolio management team, I'm pleased to update you on our investment activity during the first quarter. And what a quarter it was. After a calm and prosperous 2017, volatility returned with a vengeance. Stock markets soared in January, sold off in February, and recovered in March. And now, April has seen the worst start to a second quarter since 1929. And by the time you're listening to this, market direction may have shifted again. We're often asked, how have we weathered this volatility, and how are we positioned for it going forward? Please be assured the answer is very well. For one, we have lots of cash, 21% in our balanced portfolio model. This is compared to, say, 5% cash you might see in a typical mutual fund. A large cash balance provides stability and allows us to invest when opportunities are created by market volatility. During the quarter, we made an initial equity investment in emerging markets. Emerging markets now represent more than half of world GDP. We decided the time had come to have direct exposure through a specialist manager. We began a manager search in early 2017 and interviewed several firms before selecting Neuberger Berman. We began allocating capital to them in Q1 and expect to build to a full position this year. We like building exposure to this area for future growth and diversification. The other reason we can weather volatility is that we are highly diversified by asset class. Our universe consists of 7 traditional and 5 alternative asset classes, examples being real estate, private debt, and infrastructure like bridges and toll roads on which our economy functions. We've been very active in the alternative asset class space because on a relative basis, we see more opportunity there than in the public markets. But I want to stress that this is on a selective basis, as all asset classes are looking expensive today. During the quarter, we put more money into private debt. You may not be familiar with this asset class. It's generally only available to institutional investors like Newport, and it has seen a lot of demand in recent years. Private debt is like high-yield bonds, loans to companies to fund their growth and operations, with the difference being they are not publicly traded. You can earn high rates of return, from 8 to 12%, but you give up liquidity in doing so. We are comfortable with this because we manage the risk in different ways, and it is a small part of the portfolio. We entered 2018 with 5 different private debt managers in our stable and added a 6th in March. I want to talk a little bit about them to give you a window on our process and how we think about managing risk. Deerpath Capital Management is a US-based provider of senior loans to lower middle market companies across diverse industries. It was founded by 2 well-known names, former GE Capital Chairman Gary Brent and James Kirby, formerly a credit portfolio manager with George Soros' company. Behind them is a 33-person team in 4 offices across the U.S. In addition to impeccable credentials and experience, what distinguishes Deerpath is their safety-first credit culture. Like us, they're not swinging for the fences. Singles and doubles will do just fine. They've had 0 credit losses in over 200 financings over 8 years. Deerpath has shown more than 1,000 potential loan investments each year, from which they will select only 20 to 25. We like that degree of pickiness. We have allocated $20 million to Deerpath that will be drawn down over time. In a nutshell, we were very active in the quarter. You don't need to be worried when you see market volatility. We're ready for it, it is expected, it is long overdue, and it is an opportunity to reposition portfolios. This is an environment that suits us very well because of our diversification, and I believe we are better positioned today than in the past 5 years when a rising tide lifted all boats. Thank you very much for the trust you have placed in us in managing your assets. We are mindful of the responsibility and honored with your confidence.